by itself.
The ultimate limit of that is the arms necessary to prevent. Basically, you can own any arm that is necessary to necessary.
They're fucking killing Arnie kids, so you're telling me it isn't real when they had a fucking vote in the goddamn fucking Senate?
You're being replaced, and there's nothing you can do about it. So shut up.
Welcome to Ready to Rumble, the podcast that brings you the best of the worst on Rumble. I'm your favorite bard, Korak the Bard, and today this ain't your grandma's Sears Roebuck catalog. We're talking about a former faux hippie turned right-wing alpha male, J.P. Sears. As always, I'm joined by my steadfast co-host, Dr. Scorpion the Bird.
Thank you, Bard. Thank you. I am Scorpion the Bird. I am a real doctor. I'm not a real bird. And I am here for the nerd shit.
As am I. But before we get to all that, Doc, why don't you... So, Doc, what's your good thing this week?
My something good this week is a new track from a band that I only discovered late last year called Conan. They have a new track out called Desolation Hex. It's fantastic. It's suffocatingly heavy, and they have the rest of the album coming out on the 25th of April. So I'm very excited by that. I
saw a track off their album that you sent me, and I love the old school, like, 8-bit video game footage they have mixed with everything. Like, just here's a little bit of Splatterhouse, and here's a bit of Mortal Kombat. The imagery alone is worth it.
Well, the song itself is an ode to fighting the big bad guy in a video game.
Yeah.
That was the atmosphere they were trying to evoke with it, was really descending deep into a video game and becoming one with the character as you fight the final boss. It's a lovely track. It speaks to my Gen X video game loving brain, and I don't know why I only just discovered them last year. They've been around for a little while, but yeah, that's my music rec for the week as well, is Conan. Go check him out. How about you, Bard? What's your something good this week?
My something good is actually my landlady.
Oh.
She's one of the sweetest people I've ever met, and she's fun size. She's roughly the size of a hobbit, but she's got all the. She makes up for it with all that Latina Spitfire attitude. So she's a larger than life personality in a fun size package. And she's very generous and very kind. Literally, just today, she showed up with 2 giant rocking chairs.
Oh, wow.
And said, I thought these would look good on your porch, and, maybe you'd like them. So, yeah, now I have rocking chairs. And she came in for a bit, and we talked. And she saw my kind of jerry-rigged recording setup for the podcast. And she was like, oh, do you need a computer desk and maybe a chair? Like, would that be better for you? So I'm just kind of smirking at the idea that, how many people get to say that they love their landlords or their landladies and they're very helpful. They will just bring you furniture if you need it. They'll do whatever you need to make sure you're comfortable.
Wow, man. It's rare enough that someone can say, my landlord/lady is not an absolute piece of shit. It's almost unheard of that if someone gets to say my landlord/lady is a genuinely good person who helps me out.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, that's
awesome.
By far my good thing this week.
Fantastic.
Well, that's enough good vibes for now. Let's get into the J.P. Sears portion of the podcast. What do you have for me, Doc?
J.P. Sears, Jonathan Patrick Sears, was born on the 12th of April 1981 in Toledo, Ohio. He was raised in Bowling Green, the site of an infamous massacre, according to the current US president. JP was interested in health and fitness from an early age, and this turned into an interest in the holistic lifestyle. He attended Bowling Green State University, but left after only a few months to study at Journeys of Wisdom, a life coaching school in Ohio. From there, he moved to San Diego to work as a life coach. While living in California, JP began uploading videos to YouTube. Initially, his videos were sincere guides with a new age twist to topics including the importance of vulnerability, anger management, and being good to yourself. But in 2014, shortly after moving to Charleston, JP Sears changed the tone of his videos, with sincerity giving way to satire. He released How to Be Ultra Spiritual, which became a viral hit, and followed this up with How to Become Gluten Intolerant. This led to a series of ultra spiritual videos, a book, and in 2017, a career change to full-time comedian. Now, I'm going to have to keep referring to JP as a comedian because referring to him as an unfunny hack gets a bit tired after the first few times.
Fine, we'll go with comedian, I guess.
I'm JP Sears. I'm ultra spiritual, and I'm going to teach you how to be ultra spiritual today. First, what you need to understand is being ultra spiritual has nothing to do with actually being spiritual, because no one even knows what that actually is. Being ultra spiritual means you look spiritual.
Well, this looks like something I would do with just better timing, writing, and scripting. I mean, there's a premise there that could be funny, but it's all in the delivery, which he does not provide.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely the basis for a joke.
Sure.
And this is very much emblematic of his entire output so far. Is there's a basis of a joke there, but like you said, there's not the timing, there's not the chops, there's not the delivery. Yeah.
I mean, it would be funny if I dressed as a pimp, but then I have to do something other than be dressed as a pimp. Like the silliness ends there, and then you have to kind of carry the rest of the skit.
Exactly. And, I think this is a part of the problem with right-wing comedy overall, is that for right-wing comics, the premise for them should be enough. They genuinely think that all they need to do is present a takedown of a liberal ideology, and that's enough for the laughs.
Right.
They don't actually have to do anything with that premise.
Yeah, this is very much in line with the Steven Crowder and Dave Rubin style of comedy where, oh my God, I wore a wig and I look like a woman. That's the punchline.
Funny you should mention Dave Rubin and the wearings of hilarious wigs, because we're going to get to them in a few minutes.
Oh boy, I can't wait.
Anyway, back to JP Sears. He also released a series of infomercial-style videos roasting towns and cities across the USA. These were well received by the residents of places like Boulder and Spokane, Phoenix, Portland. However, his roast of your beloved Costa Rica was not as well appreciated.
Ooh.
The then Costa Rican ambassador to the US, India Mariela Cruz, criticized the video, and JP pulled it from his channel 36 hours later and issued a full apology.
Your comedy was so bad it pissed off a whole country. That's great.
It sparked a literal international incident. Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, they say comedy is hard, and he found out, I guess, just how hard it is.
Well, in 2020, JP did what we saw so many grifters do. He became more political, more conservative, and in response to COVID, started supporting more, quote, pro-freedom, end quote, causes.
Oh, in other words, he found out what side his bread was buttered on.
100%. Yep. And this is when he moved his content to Rumble.
Oh, here we go.
He began criticizing public health policies, including calling face masks face suffocators.
Oh,
he
God.
was spreading COVID conspiracies. He was promoting unproven treatment for COVID, such as vitamin D. All the hits, all the fake treatments, fake conspiracies that we've come to know and love. That was JP Sears in 2020.
See, of all the buy gold and conspiracy theory, grifting schemes on Rumble, I think that should be one. Do you want to know how to make money spreading conspiracy theories about COVID? Join now and find out. It's super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because one thing that I did discover while researching JP on Rumble, did you know that people set up fake channels on Rumble?
No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So there are fake JP Sears channels on Rumble.
Oh, I got to start one and start making money right now.
It's crazy. It's like an Ouroboros of grift. The grifters on Rumble get grifted by other grifters on Rumble who try to grift off the back of their grift. It's just, there is no bottom, man. It's just grift all the way down.
I think we discovered fractal grifting.
We have. God, that was not what I expected when I started this project. I did not expect to find the fractal grift.
Well, to me, I always remember, it was a terrible movie, but the Van Helsing movie where Gary Oldman was the vampire, and you see his like vast network of vampire eggs that he's going to unleash on the world.
Yeah.
That's what it felt to me like the first time I discovered the underbelly of Rumble. Like, there's thousands of them. Oh my God, you guys have no idea the plague of locusts that exists just below the surface.
Yep. And the thing is, someone like JP Sears, who, if I'm correct, you hadn't come across before today. Is that correct?
Yeah. I have never heard his name before. I have no idea who this guy is.
Yeah. So he was someone who I was peripherally aware of, largely because of his animated series that we'll get to in a couple of minutes. Can't wait for that one. But his audience is not insignificant. The channel that he has on Rumble is called Awaken with JP, and that has 700,000 subscribers. Over on...
Wait, is he promoting wokeness? Because Awaken sounds awful woke to me.
Well, this is part of the interesting part about JP Sears, is that he exists in the space that Canadian science communicator Jonathan Jarry dubbed conspirituality. So he rejects the New Age aspect of holistic treatments and so on, but replaces them with the type of right-wing conspiracy that supports almost exactly the same thing.
Right.
So JP's audience is reasonable. He's got 700,000 subscribers on his Awaken with JP channel. He's got 3 million subscribers on YouTube. He's uploaded approximately 1,500 videos to Rumble, which total about 34 million views. So if you don't want to do the maths, that's roughly 22,000 views per video.
Jesus, what could we do with those numbers, man? My God.
I mean, he's also got the JP Reacts YouTube channel, which has 589,000 subscribers and 557 videos.
Is that what we need to be doing, is like watching movies and shit and reacting to them? Like, is that the way to go?
Well, these ones, I mean, yes, I think yes. But the JP Reacts videos are typically news commentary videos, 12 to 15 minutes long.
So we should watch CNN and just make a video about us watching CNN, apparently.
We would definitely make some cash if we did that and said something about fuck the libtards while we did so. Yeah, because that's where the money's at.
Buy gold, people.
So this is one of the videos that he typically uploads to his JP Reacts channel, and this one is entitled Who's Funding the Tesla Protests? Now, Bard.
Yes.
For 10,000 imaginary dollars, do you want to pick a name of who JP says is behind the funding of the Tesla protests?
Oh, it's got to be George Soros. There is no more big of a villain who would do something so dastardly.
Bard says George Soros. Okay, let's give this a roll and see what happens.
Well, it seems like it's the summer of love all over again, with the Tesla protests heating up, getting more violent and more destructive. But do you want to know who's funding them? Stay tuned.
So I'm just going to pause the show for just a second here. Bard, would you care to describe the image we're seeing for the folks at home?
Okay. Well, similarly to the other podcasters we featured on the show, we've got a very patriotic backdrop of the American flag. He's wearing a white tee that says "But God," and his baseball cap is turned backwards like a true rebel.
Significantly down under his left arm, sitting in his armpit, there is a bottle. It says grass-fed beef liver.
Oh, God.
Do you want to care to predict what happens sometime in the next 15 seconds?
He wants you to buy that bottle of grass-fed beef liver.
All right, folks, we have two predictions. Buying the liver and George Soros. Let's see.
Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend. This is where we call out lies, hypocrisy, corruption, and highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters, because truth does indeed conquer. But you're never going to conquer anything unless you're strong. That's why I rely on grass-fed beef liver every single day. It's in my daily routine for a reason. With over 80 potent nutrients, I do believe that liver is the most nutrient-dense food on the planet.
There it is. There it is. Forget gold, buy grass-fed beef liver.
We are 24 seconds into the video before we get the grift. At this point...
This is the same algorithm at YouTube. If you have a 5-minute video you're trying to watch, 40 seconds in, you've got an ad.
Yep. At this point in the video, JP Sears spins the top of the bottle off, throws it behind him, and then grabs a large handful, no counting for him, he's too manly for that, a large handful of beef liver capsules, which he then swallows. We're just going to skip forward in a couple of minutes in the video. Oh, by the way, can you see the cup down on the bottom right-hand side?
Oh, yeah. So, we've got an American flag coffee mug with the handle looks like the handle of a gun. Wow.
Yes, sir. That is a pistol grip American flag mug.
So you can be gangsters starting the second you get your coffee mug.
So what we've skipped over is 2 minutes worth of JP Sears talking about shell companies, because that's how dumb people think smart people conduct business. Let's just roll forward.
Company to a company that gives the protesters money to be there. Yeah, we like shell companies in the protesting game. May I remind you of the George Floyd protests? Brought to you by the Soros Foundation.
Bud, do you recognize the picture that's just appeared in the top right-hand corner?
Oh my God, that's a picture of George Soros.
It sure the fuck is.
Oh my God.
Well done.
I'm 2 for 2. How predictable are these schlubs?
So I'm not going to waste anyone's time with any more of this video.
Let me skip to the finish line I think that you're getting to is George Soros funded the people to protest at Tesla, and it was not a grassroots uprising of pissed off citizens.
That's it. That's 100% of it. What I'll do is I'll skip to about the 10-minute mark, where JP puts up a picture of a protester getting arrested who is wearing a Sunrise Movement t-shirt. Now, the Sunrise Movement, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is a left-leaning youth organization.
Oh, so the next thing that's about to become illegal on college campuses.
Oh, absolutely. 15 seconds worth of Googling brings up what the Sunrise Movement is all about. Climate crisis, union jobs, racial and economic justice. They want things like clean water and funding for schools. They oppose billionaires.
So
it's
a bunch of woke shit.
A bunch of woke shit, yes. But significantly, the Sunrise Movement has received some funding from an organization that received funding from another organization that received money directly from George Soros.
Oh, shit.
So for JP Sears, the fact that one person wearing a Sunrise Movement t-shirt got arrested at a Tesla protest, that's enough for him to say that George Soros is funding the Tesla protests.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, was there ever any doubt?
No, none whatsoever. So yeah, these dots were joined by Laura Loomer, by the way.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's what I woke up today to find out. What does Laura Loomer have to say about the Tesla protests?
There's just the links between these people and the links these people make. It's really, really bizarre. But that's all he's got. That's 100% of what he's got, is that one person wearing a T-shirt from a movement that was funded third or fourth handed, depending on the way you're counting, by money that initially came from George Soros. That's enough for JP.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you imagine when George Soros dies, how many ghost accounts that are now going to be secretly funding things from his legacy?
I can't imagine. I mean, I know that George Soros' son has started to receive a bit more attention, and I can only assume that that's because they realize that George Soros is an old man who has finite time left on this earth, as indeed we all do.
Right.
And that once George Soros does shuffle off this mortal coil, they're going to need a new bogeyman.
Yeah.
So yeah, George Soros' son has received a few more mentions recently.
No, the Soros Foundation will be the perfect scapegoat in whatever form it takes.
So the reason, of course, that he has these separate accounts is a reason that's common to many Rumble creators, and that is simply that YouTube has standards where Rumble does not. Well, it's very common. You post your commentary videos on the news, you post your funny videos and so on to YouTube. You hook people in, and then you get to spout all of your anti-vax and your COVID conspiracies over on Rumble.
Oh, sure. It's another Crowder thing where he'll go on YouTube and say, come to Rumble for the real stuff, where, we use slurs all the time because YouTube has standards.
Yeah, Crowder and Russell Brand are two that I know who do that sort of thing very often. That the YouTube version will come up with a little technical difficulties type graphic that says too hot for YouTube, come over to Rumble.
Right.
Or in Brand's case, he'll give you the first 10 to 15 minutes on YouTube and then say we're going to switch over to Rumble to talk about the stuff that's too hot for YouTube. Quark, have you heard of the Liver King?
I have. I've seen him in a couple of videos. He's this totally jacked dude who swears by like raw meat or something.
He is indeed. And there's a picture of him right there. You can see his spherical pectoral muscles. You can see his Galapagos giant tortoise shell type abs.
Yeah.
You can see his enormous veiny arms. He's an extremely muscular, very well put together dude with an extremely impressive beard.
Those abs look painted on, and if he got that way eating liver, then I should have cum gutters because I've eaten a lot of pate.
The world's not fair, man.
It's not.
The reason I bring up the Liver King, who is known to his mother as Brian Johnson, is that in
His
June
name
of
is just
2024,
Brian Johnson. Just fucking regular ass name is now the Liver King. I love it.
Yep. Liver King Brian. In June of 2024, JP shot a video with Brian Johnson. Now, Liver King Brian has built himself a multi-million-dollar social media empire around claims that his impressive musculature was the result of eating raw meat, especially, as one would expect from the name, liver.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to play a quick clip here of the Liver King doing a walk and talk. It's an 18-minute video, and all 18 minutes are the Liver King walking and talking. So we're absolutely not going to subject our audience to the full 18. But I want to play it a little bit just so you can get a sense of where this dude's brand is at.
It sounds like the kind of thing you can just drop the needle wherever the hell you want on the record.
Well, there is a couple of specific points.
A lot of people are really focused on tenet number 2 and tenet number 3, which are eat and move, in order to express like the strongest, leanest, what they believe is the most visually dominant form of themselves. And what I try to tell everybody is it's just not how you eat or how you move. It really has to do with all 9 ancestral tenets.
Are you telling me I need to eat and move in order to dominate?
Yeah. Not just dominate, but be the most visually appealing.
Wow. I mean, I eat and I move all the time. I should be dominating the shit out of this planet.
Well, let's not forget that this is very much into incel culture and looks maxing and all that sort of stuff. You know, this is not about doing things that are healthy. This is about doing things to look good. And that's extremely important.
Yeah.
And we'll get to why in just a minute. But what I wanted to bring your attention to was that his brand centers around these ancestral tenets. It's very much centered around the caveman idea. The Liver King doesn't eat vegetables. The Liver King doesn't wear shoes. He wants you to live like an ancestral barbarian by buying his UV light blocking sunglasses.
Homo sapien ate vegetables. We eat vegetables. Why do we have molars? What the fuck?
I know, and never mind all the archaeological evidence that showed that especially the women of the tribe provided far more nutrition from gathering vegetables and plant material than the men did from hunting. But that
Right.
doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, hunter-gatherer. Does that ring a bell? What do you fucking think that the gatherers gathered?
I know. And realistically, it should be gatherer-hunter because there was a shitload more gathering going on than huntering.
Right.
But anyway.
Just to digress for just a second, I can see, oh, you brought home a woolly mammoth. That's good for a month. By the way, I'm picking fucking berries from now till doomsday. Thanks.
Well, no, that's the thing. Your woolly mammoth is good for a couple of days.
Right, before it goes bad, because we didn't have smoked meats back then.
Before it goes bad, because we didn't have smoked meats, we didn't understand dehydration, we didn't have refrigeration, so this entire several tens of thousands of pounds worth of animal is good for 2 days tops.
Oy.
So this is the type of thinking that drives the Liver King, which is why it was somewhat of an embarrassment to him in 2023 when a series of emails was leaked that revealed that Liver King Brian was spending $11,000 per month on steroids.
What? This super jack dude who eats only raw liver is actually doping? What are the odds?
I know, colour me shocked. Brian apologized. He made a video describing how he was giving up steroids, and then very quickly he started using them again. God. Now, JP Sears got in on this controversy. He released a video talking about his own use of exogenous steroids and defended Brian's use of steroids.
Wow.
So it's odd that when JP Sears made his video that we mentioned before in June of 2024, and the Liver King said, "I've been taking steroids for a long time," Sears replied, quote, "I don't believe you. I think you've been lying about how you lied." End quote.
Really?
And it's simply because the grift is that you can be as buff as they are if you buy their supplements.
Right, that's...
It encapsulates the way that Rumble wants its audience. Rumble wants its audience to outright reject the confession or the evidence that is directly in front of their face in favor of the narrative that Rumble's already predetermined for you.
Well, I was going to say, this goes beyond don't believe your lying eyes. This is I don't believe my lying eyes. What the hell?
Yeah. This is the post-truth philosophy.
Yeah.
Like, this is the post-truth grift. You know, here's a guy who stands up and says, "I did it. I did the thing," and in response, the Rumble creator says, "No, you didn't. Buy my liver."
Even though we both totally did. You gave away the game. Where are we going with this?
Yeah. We're the two of them are standing in front of the audience, lying to each other about each other, and the audience is just expected to go, "Yep,
yeah,
I'll have that supplement and those UV blocking sunglasses just like our barbarian ancestors wore, and I'll buy this red light panel to do my yoga in front of just like our barbarian ancestors did."
Well, as you said, this is intended for like the demographic of the incel crowd, which, by the way, you're not an incel because you're just super smart.
Well, I don't know the best way to put this, but I'm going to try anyway. If you were super smart, you would realize that the worst judges of what heterosexual women find attractive are heterosexual men.
Right.
And if you were that smart, you wouldn't be an incel.
Oh, yeah. If you were just a mediocre level of smart, you would realize that these pickup artists and these totally jacked dudes who say they aren't on steroids, that's not the way to go. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out.
What it takes is self-awareness, a bit of empathy, and a bit of perspective.
Yeah.
And I think if you're going to describe three things that are completely lacking in the target demographic of Rumble, it would be self-awareness, empathy, and perspective.
Yeah, that's the top three. We're in the wrong profession, man. Is there a way to like cater to the right without being on the right and still shitting on them while we do it without them knowing the difference?
Oh man, I don't know. I've got to admit, I'm being vulnerable here. I've thought about it a lot because that's where the cash is.
Right.
I mean, you look at someone like Tim Pool, right?
Yeah.
That guy's fucking useless. You know, like calling him as useless as tits on a bull is to insult tits on a bull.
Yeah.
And yet he coined so much. He was pocketing so many rubles. It's not fucking funny. Like, his audience wasn't that big. And even at the time, I remember a couple of lefty-type podcasters talking about him and saying, this is impossible. It's impossible that he is making this much money just off of his podcast.
Right.
Because the numbers didn't add up. The as they say in the classics, the math wasn't mathin'.
So, yeah, I guess I'll just throw it out there. I mean, if Putin is looking for a couple of undercover lefties to be the next pick-me's, and you've got about 40 billion rubles to throw our way, comrade, hey, Tovarish, we're all for it. It won't be suspicious at all because we're actually clever and can disguise what we're doing without being a complete obvious shill.
Hey, Vlad, I have no morals and my price is way lower than you think, okay? Way lower.
If you were giving Tim Pool $100,000 per video, dude, I'll take half that, man. Easily.
God, I'll take half of that and split it with you and still be happy.
Yeah, easy. Done, man.
Give us a call, Vlad. You know where to find us.
That's a whole mortgage, dude. Like, we'll do 2 episodes. We'll have them in the can by Friday.
Oh, man, that's my kid's university paid off. That's my house paid off. Jesus Christ.
And what did Bald Tim Pool do with it? He bought a fucking skate park because nobody wanted him at that skate park.
Oh, holy shit. Have you ever listened to any Tim Pool?
Yeah, he reads headlines, and that's about it.
Really? Because I never have. It's one of those things I've been fortunate to avoid, but I guess it's probably part of the fucking project that we're going to have to listen to Tim fucking Pool at some point in time.
Oh, I can bring you a highlight reel where he was like up against Emma Vigeland from the Sam Cedar Show and just totally caught with his dick in his hands. He does not know what the hell he's talking about. And the second he talks to someone who does, who's not in that right-wing bubble, he shits himself.
There's a lot to talk about with the whole right-wing bubble thing, and I think we've alluded to it before about defining woke and so on. It's just we're in the wrong business.
Yeah, we need to be a little bit more morally flexible.
Which is to say, we're in the right business. We're just on the wrong side of the right business.
Right? If you want money, yeah.
So, Quark, tell me, have you heard of The New Norm?
Oh, yeah, I saw the first episode. It was just, it's supposed to be a comedy, like a cartoon about how hard it is to be a conservative in this crazy trans world or something like that.
Well, for the folks who've been lucky enough to have never heard of The New Norm before, in 2024, J.P. Sears starred as the titular Norm in The New Norm, an adult animated series hosted exclusively on Twitter. Norm is an Archie Bunker archetype, struggling to cope with the world of today with its multiple genders and fluid pronouns, and yeah, that's basically it. The show just makes fun of that. And the only reason I didn't call the character of Norm a trope was to reserve the word trope for literally everything else about the show, from Norm's barely one-dimensional wife to his rebellious teen daughter to the black friend that may as well have the word token stamped across his forehead in very large letters.
South Park already did that.
Oh, God. The New Norm pitched itself as the new South Park, making humour legal again on the home of free speech that is X. But in a world where there's already a South Park, and South Park is done by people who are actually funny, there was never any hope that the New Norm was ever going to be anything other than a piece of shit. And to demonstrate that piece of shit, let me just play you a little clip here from the show. So this is the first episode, the pilot episode. Let's just roll it and see what we get.
What's that?
Progress. It's the new norm.
The new norm ain't the same as the old norm. I'm the old norm. I want normal beer.
Warning, perimeter reached.
Ugh. It's your fault I got house arrest.
You're the one who threatened the school board.
Oh, God.
So what we had there, for the folks who can't see the video, is Norm is scratching at his ankle monitor, which we later find out is attached to an Alexa-type device that gives him a warning whenever he says anything that isn't woke. He then grabs for his beer, which is in a rainbow can, because Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah, the right is being oppressed by the new norm.
Yeah.
And this poor guy just can't adjust to the times. It reminds me when Fox News tried the half-hour comedy hour back in the day.
Oh my God, I remember that. That was interminable.
Well, it was, but the funniest part was the title. I was like, that's actually kind of clever, but all right-wing comedy is just punching down. So the punchline is, hey, trans people exist. Isn't that fucking weird? Cue the laugh track.
Right, because that's the thing, is it's impossible from the right wing to not punch down.
Right.
You know, when your guy is the president, when you control the House of Congress, when you control the Senate, when you've stacked the Supreme Court, you can only punch down. There's only one direction for you. So
yeah.
There's nothing subversive, there's nothing challenging, and God's sake, there's nothing clever or witty about it. It's just... We'll get into reviews in just a second, but I want to skip to the end. I'm not going to subject our wonderful audience to any more of the show, but I do want to play the outro, the ending song, because this is worth a listen. Norm's rainbow beer has just exploded bukkake style into his face.
I just want Normal's beer.
You know there'll be jokes.
The new norm ain't the same as the old norm. Everything's changing and I don't know when. This woke nightmare will end. Thank God for Elon Musk and his shitpost memes. X is the home for free speech.
Just in case you missed it, those last lyrics were, thank God for Elon Musk and his shitpost memes. X is the home of free speech.
This is not a serious country anymore. It simply isn't.
This is not a serious timeline. I don't know where reality took such a bad turn, but holy shit, here we are.
Yeah. I mean, they animated Elon Musk coming in and panning out to the studio audience to justify the laugh track this whole time. Like it was filmed in front of them, and Elon is just the cameo at the end. We live in the dumbest timeline, and look no further for proof than the new norm.
Look, honestly, I wasn't going to mention the laugh track because the laugh track is the least stupid thing about this fucking show.
That's fair.
So... the reviews of this show were not positive. Left-leaning news site Splinter described the show as, quote, reptile-brained grievance-amplifying machine masquerading as intelligent and sardonic thought, end quote.
Accurate.
Also described it as, quote, bigoted baby-brained bullshit, end quote, while calling its creators, quote, reactionary starfucker schlubs, end quote.
Both accurate, and I love a little alliteration.
Well, yeah, and if you want to doubt the veracity of the starfucker claim, again, we've just had Elon Musk come in at the end with the lyrics, thank God for Elon Musk.
Who did not have a part in the show. His cameo was an animated person walking in and waving at the studio audience. I mean, could you be any more of a simp than having to draw Elon into your show?
It's insane. It's so incredibly bad.
Wow.
But the thing is, the right wing wasn't any friendlier. The conservative news site Unheard, spelt UNHERD.
Oh, that's edgy.
Because they're not one of the herd, you get it. They described the new norm as, quote, not just terrible, but flesh-creepingly awful, end quote. And describes the jokes as, quote, bags of tools being dropped down a lift shaft, end quote.
That, you know what? You could make good money off of TikTok doing that. That would actually be more entertaining.
I would far rather sit through videos of bags of tools being dropped down a lift shaft, no question.
What is the sound of 10 hammers going down 10 stories of an elevator shaft? I want to know now.
Yeah, it would have exactly the same sort of bizarre interest hook as the hydraulic press channel. You ever watch the hydraulic press channel?
Yes, that can be very fascinating.
I know. It's like you're sitting there and it's just like the 8-year-old boy part of your brain perks up and says, why, yes, what would happen if you put a stack of Post-it notes in a hydraulic press?
Right.
You got to find out.
And my favorite version is the woman who does the interpretive dance alongside it and makes it look like the same exact thing. But there is no equivalent to that for New Norm. How do you parody this and actually make it funny?
Well, just in case you thought that Unheard and Splinter were being unfair, I went to the Ask Conservatives subreddit. Their comments were brutally bad, like what a left-winger would make as a parody of right-wing comedy. And my personal favourite, it's like they took conservatives' one joke about identifying as an Apache helicopter and set it on loop every 15 seconds for 10 minutes.
Okay, that is 100% spot on. Absolutely.
Yep, what we spared our audience, because we love our audience, in between the opening clip and that theme song was a solid 3 minutes of Norm going, whoa, to every stupid gender or pronoun thing that you can think of. It's just so bad. It's just so dumb.
And there was a special guest appearance by, who was it, Dave Rubin, who apparently was recording in his bathroom for this, and he identifies as me. So that's funny.
Yes. So future Ready to Rumble subject Dave Rubin featured as a mask-wearing non-binary character who identified with the pronoun that. And yes, his audio signature is wildly different to everybody else's.
Yeah.
It could not be more obvious that each character was recorded in isolation in extremely different studios.
which just brings it a full circle, since they're animating a live studio audience. That's just cherry on top.
Yeah, it's just so bad. It was called by one commentator on IMDb. I couldn't trace the source, but one commentator quoted on IMDb did call it the worst TV show ever. And I can't detect a lie, honestly. I've watched plenty of bad TV, I've watched plenty of bad movies, and this beats them all. It's just so incredibly awful.
Technically, it's not a TV show because it only appears on Twitter screens. So unless you're like broadcasting it to an actual television, this has never seen, a broadcast network.
Well, I do like the way that this show sits next to Tucker Carlson's post Fox News show, in that they were both hosted by Twitter and they both failed miserably.
Yeah.
This is very obviously Elon's next big plan, was to host TV shows on X, and like everything else he turned his hand to, he took somebody else's good work and fucked it up.
As he is wont to do.
So the J.P. Sears of today occupies a hypocritical liminal space between very hippie New Age philosophy and a sort of a right-wing rationalism, where he promotes natural supplements while using steroids, where he rejects spirituality while promoting Christianity, and where he rejects evidence-based public health policies while touting the power of raw liver and red light therapy. So Korak, I have a question for you.
Do you want to play a game?
Oh God, it's that time again, is it?
Indeed it is. It is time for your new favorite game, You Can't Be Sears-ious.
That sounds an awful lot like Stupendous from last week.
No, absolutely not. This is an entirely original game format that's never been used by any other podcast ever.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to read 3 quotes from The New Norm, 2 of which are lines from J.P. Sears lifted directly from the show, and 1 of which can't be Sears-ious. And your task is to identify which quote is what. Korak, are you up for the challenge?
I guess so.
Excellent. Blah, blah, blah. Joke about fucking up the format. Blah, blah, blah. Quote number 1. I gently suggested they stop brainwashing my daughter that girls aren't girls and men aren't men.
Topical.
Quote number 2 comes with stage directions. Okay? Picks up rainbow beer. Hey, pronoun, this bud's for you. Throws beer at Chaz.
Okay.
Quote number 3. Save me, Elon Musk.
Oh, God.
So, which 2 are directly from the show, and which one can't be Sears-ious?
Good Lord. So we've got brainwashing people with trans pronouns. We've got throwing a rainbow beer at a pronoun, and save me, Elon Musk. I think the third one cannot be Sears-ious because they couldn't just say, I don't know, that's a little too fellatio related towards Elon Musk. That's a little too blatant. So yeah, I'm going to say 3 can't be Sears-ious.
All right, so out of quotes number 1 and 2, which one are you more confident is directly from the show?
Oh, don't do that head fake shit. Now I'm going to start thinking that one of my guesses is wrong. Okay, if I had to eliminate one, but again, this ain't Monty Hall, so I'm less Sears-ious about quote 2 and throwing a rainbow beer at a pronoun.
Okay, quote number 2 is from the show.
All right.
I wish I could describe this as the second best joke in the show.
Well, to call it a joke is already losing ground there. We are conceding a lot
Exactly.
to call this comedy.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that calling it the second best joke would be calling it a joke, and your bird does not lie. So, you also think quote 1 is directly from the show.
Yeah.
And quote 1 is directly from the show.
Ah, yes!
Congratulations, you get the point for the second week in a row.
Always bet on the anti-trans rhetoric, man. It is a safe bet.
You can't lose. You can't lose when you bet on the anti-trans. You're 100% correct. But yes,
Even money.
even for the new norm, directly saying "save me, Elon Musk" was far too on the nose. That was just far too testicle gargling, even for the new norm.
And they animated a cameo of him, like an artist, a quote artist, an animator had to draw Elon Musk for several frames of animation. That took hours of time.
What they didn't have, and what they didn't use an artist for, of course, was the theme song.
Was that AI generated?
AI generated, yes.
Oh my God. I knew I recognized that like AI country voice because that's kind of the default. If you ask Brock or somebody to come up with a country song, that's the twang that they go with.
So I guess if there is a saving grace, it is that for the new norm, it wasn't an actual human person who had to write the line, "Thank God for Elon Musk."
The saving grace is, no actual man hours went into the theme song. Thank God for that.
That is the best we could say about the show, yeah.
Oh, can you imagine? Yeah, we're going to hire a band. We need a guitarist and a bassist and a composer. No, fuck all that.
That's all right. Fuck all that's a good place to stop, I think. I got nothing else to add.
And we will end it on fuck all that. I think that's enough right-wing noise for today. We'd like to thank our steadfast listeners for listening, our subscribers for subscribing, our patrons for patroning, and if you're not any of those beautiful people, you can become one with the simple push of a button. And if you'd like exclusive and early access to all of our content, join us at patreon.com/KorakTheBard. If you have questions, comments, quips, quotes, or concerns, feel free to voice them by emailing us at birdandbardproductions@gmail.com. As always, I'm your favorite bard, Korak the Bard.
And I'm Dr. Scorpion the Bird.
Until next time, stand by and get ready to rumble. Good night and good luck, everyone.
The instrumental outro you're listening to right now was composed and recorded by two live humans and not artificial intelligence.